What is going on, Center City Church?
You already know.
You do that better than I even do it.
So can I take your job doing
you can
this?
absolutely have my job doing the podcast. What is going on? I am here with the infamous Pastor Emma Gerard, who did an incredible job bringing to light this fifth week of our Multiplier series. Can you believe it's 5 weeks already?
Yeah. It feels like the first week and the sixth week at the same time. It feels like we've been in it for a while, but we also just started.
Yeah, and I've been really amazed at how many people are invested and connected and tuned in. And I had the incredible opportunity of speaking at our our brother church, sister church in Lake Norman. Pastor Zach invited me to speak at Multiply Lake Norman. Props to anybody watching in Lake Norman. It's probably nobody, but anyway. But I was incredibly impressed as I turned onto the YouTube feed on my way home to get a chance to hear you speak. And this week we talked about multiplying as a soul winner. And this is something that's really kind of near and dear to both our hearts. So we probably share this and have this in common when it comes to being just exceptionally passionate about winning souls. And we spoke, we quoted Jesus in Matthew saying this emphatic call that we're called to create disciples. And then Proverbs, as it spoke about how wisdom, wise people win souls and how it's this investment. But you did something I didn't do that after I listened to you, I'm like, man, I so wished I would have put that in my message, just a strong picture of story, which I love. We all have our story. And then you kind of pointed to Revelations on how we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, and just really how God uses our story. So I thought we would take the next several moments and you'd give us a little bit of your story.
Oh, okay. I like where you're going with this. Man, I don't even know where to start with my story. I think that I've alluded to it in some of the spaces in our just with the church as a whole in our conversations, sometimes during offering or sometimes even this past Sunday. But for, those listening that have no idea who I am, I think when it comes to my story, what's important to know is I wasn't one of those people that ever really knew who Jesus was. So I have no really sound understanding of who this person was. I knew he was a man. I knew he was not from America, and I knew that he was connected to this God person. But quite honestly, when I thought of Jesus, I thought about perfection, and I thought of clean. I don't know, that was my picture. It was all, when I think of Jesus even now, from my 15, 16-year-old, 17-year-old perspective of Jesus, I think of a girl on my cross-country team who I just thought had it all together, and that she was the picture of somebody who Jesus would like, but I was not the picture of somebody that Jesus would like. And so you can imagine what that's like for a super insecure high school student. And then all of a sudden, it didn't matter to me anymore. It got to that point where whether I'm perfect or whether I'm not, I need him. And so then gave my life to the Lord at, your youth retreat when I was that 18? Was it 17? I feel like I tell the story and I'm a different age every time, so I don't really remember.
You've caught some of my memory issues.
Inherited that. I think I was 18. I think I was 18 years old.
It was your senior year of high school, right?
Yeah, I was a senior in high school, and I was a part of the older bracket, so I think I was 18. Gave my life to the Lord, and I remember that night laying in the top bunk above Jamila. So Jamila Henry was sleeping down here, and I'm up here at the top bunk, and I pull out my phone, and we don't have any Wi-Fi or anything, and I just write, I don't know what happened to me tonight, but I know that my life just changed. Yeah. And so from that point on, as a senior in high school, I don't really know if I ran. I think I describe it more as I jumped 2 feet in. So whatever's going on here and whatever the Lord was doing in my life, and from there, it just kind of never stopped. Went to Southeastern University, came home, interned for you, went to Bolivia, came home, worked for you. And so a lot of my story kind of, it ends with Jesus, but it also starts again with Jesus, I guess is the best way to say it. But it's kind of my story.
That's awesome. So for a lot of people who are afraid, when it comes to telling people about Jesus or sharing their stories, what are some quick tips that you might be able to give somebody who's maybe watching? It's like, hey, I got a neighbor that I know needs to hear about the Lord, and we're in relationship, I'm over there all the time, and I'm just a little nervous about sharing my story. What kind of tips would you give them?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, pray. And I know that sounds super cheesy, but it's something that I don't think we'll really have the words or even have the confidence or even feel like we have that like covering, I guess,
Yeah.
To do that. And then I think you don't have to be weird about it. You don't have to be, there's ways to do it where it doesn't feel like you're offending, and like you never know the context or where somebody's coming from. But I would say don't be afraid to go deeper. Don't be afraid to take it a little too far when you're talking to someone about their emotions and talking to them about where they've been. And I think it all comes back to be interested and not interesting. Don't spend too much time on your story. That's why this past Sunday we really encouraged the whole 15-second testimony situation, but really listening to somebody, because at that point, that's all they're wanting to do is kind of talk to somebody. I think
No,
listening.
that's good. I think listening is an important part of the process. If you weren't with us Sunday, we do have a fairly simple process to write down and kind of get a grasp of what your story is. There's some of you who are just natural-born storytellers, like Emma, where you can get up and basically tell a story and command attention. But for others, it's maybe a little difficult. Like, that's not second nature to you. So with the 15-second testimony, it just really starts with this idea of, before God, this is kind of what happened. This is where I was at. And then Jesus, ... This is how Jesus kind of stepped in, or I had this God moment where things shifted. And then since Jesus, this is what life has been. And I would encourage anybody to take 5 minutes, sit down, maybe even come up with that story, so that when you do have an opportunity, whether it's at a coffee shop with a random stranger or a neighbor that you're spending and investing time in, it almost becomes a muscle memory. It's funny because I've told my story for years now. I got a chance to tell a little bit of my story at Lake Norman this past weekend. And even when I got off the stage, I had someone walk over and said, "Oh man, I couldn't wait to hear your story about Moni." So
I love the Moni story.
yeah, the Moni story is near and dear to me. But again, it's the story that the Lord has written in my life. It's very personal and dear to me. And I also love the picture you painted of how your story affects other stories that affect other stories. So let's just continue to challenge one another that we would be all that God has called us to be as we push to this idea of identifying ourselves as multipliers, of walking in that multiplier identity as a soul winner. Can't wait. We are 1 week away from this thing. Sunday is our last week. And then the Sunday after is our luncheon, where we're going to be giving out our Xboxes, and we'll find out who's all in. To register for that, just go to centercity.church/what'sup, and then at the bottom of the form, there's a quick little question that says, "Hey, are you going to the luncheon?" Say yes. We would love to see you there as we continue to kind of just push in together as a church. I'm really excited about the luncheon. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Thank you so much for all you do, Pastor Emma. Thank you so much for the way that you love our teenagers so fully and in such a great way, and the partnership that you have with your incredible husband and how you guys have loved our family. So until next week, guys, we'll see you right here Sunday, 10 o'clock. We'd love to see you. God bless you.